I dedicate this video to all my African brothers in Africa who are chefs. And I have a message for you. All of you. You want to come to Europe, huh? Stupid! I get so many questions. Chef, I want to work with you here in Europe. Chef, arrange a job for me in Europe. Guys, life is a bitch in Europe. Life is not what you think it is in Europe. And your brothers and sisters that are here now will not tell you that because they're already ashamed. Okay? They're already ashamed. So they come home to you, they say, oh, life is fantastic. It's not. I lived 14 years in Tanzania. 14 years. Life is better. There's so much opportunity in Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya. All my brothers and sisters there, trust me, if you work hard, you graft hard, your life is much better. You want to know what's happening here in Europe when you come here? I'll give you my breakdown, okay? My flat, my tiny flat, 1,400 euros a month. My energy bill, 250 euros a month. My gas bill, 100 euros a month. My car insurance, 45 euros. My mobile phone, 50 euros. My TV, 40 euros. My local government tax, 160 euros a month. My list goes on. At the end of the month, I spent 3,000 euros only bills. And I'm not even fucking living yet. Then I have to buy my groceries, all my shit. So I come down to 4,000 euros. And you people, you think you come here, oh, I earn 4,000 euros. No, you're not, you dumb fuck. You pay taxes and bills, and you cannot escape it. You cannot escape those bills. The system is created that way. So if you earn your 400 euros in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Congo, you're way better off. And you have fucking freedom and a beautiful country. I want to quit in Europe. The only good thing here is my kids' education. That's it. But when that little fucker turns 18, I'm flying away back to Tanzania with the grace of God. So please stop asking me for jobs and shit from Africa. Life is not what you think it is. Suck on that. Now get the fuck back to work. Stop this.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Afro Judy. I really appreciate your support and I hope you all are doing great. There is a growing number of white Europeans and Americans, yes, white people, right now warning Africans not to move to Europe or to the United States, not because of racism, not because of immigration control, but in other words, they say that there is no life there and that Africa right now is even way better than the West. Is it true or what are they trying to say? I know it might sound surprising and even confusing because for decades, Africa has been portrayed as a continent where people escape from because of poverty, because of war, and even corruption. And Europe and America has always been portrayed as the promised land. So guys, without wasting time, let's dive in straight away, and credit belongs to the original creators of these clips. I'm your presenter, Judy.
Why is nobody talking about this? Ever since I came to Africa, many Africans have come to me and said they will pay me thousands of dollars for me to help them to go to Europe. I haven't helped a single person, and I'm not going to do that. Ask yourself, why, if Europe is so fantastic, why am I then in Africa? Does that make sense? If my own place is so fantastic, why would I be here? Now, you are ready to pay me thousands of dollars for you to go and work hard in Europe, for you to help Europe get back on track. Why won't you stay in Africa and make Africa get on track? It doesn't make sense. You're an African, so why don't you want to help your own continent to grow and prosper? But you want to go to my continent and make that prosper. It doesn't make sense. If you have thousands of dollars that you want to give me for me to help you to go there, spend those thousands of dollars to set up a business here in Africa. And if you need help with that one, I'm willing to help you. But I will never help you to go to Europe and suffer.
People in West Africa are starting to live better than people in the Western world. Now, I'm not talking about everybody, but I'm talking about if you're well-to-do, if you're doing pretty good in your life, it's better to be doing really well in Africa than it is to be in America. Now, I'm currently in America, and it's like a little bit of a culture shock coming back from Africa because when you come here, you're around people who, on paper, they're very successful, rich, and all that. But all these people are drowning in debt. They got a nice car, but they don't own it. They've got a lease on it. They may say that they own a house, but they kind of do, but they have a huge mortgage on it. But in Africa, people own everything outright. And what does this lead to, like, in day-to-day life? Well, when you know someone who's well-to-do in Africa, they're a lot more relaxed. They feel like they can go on trips with you. They're a lot more generous. People here, even though they may have a lot of money on paper in America, the second they let their foot off the gas, the second they stop hustling, those bills will catch up on them really quick. And it shows like kind of why I feel West Africa is the future, because here people are putting up an appearance of being rich, well-to-do, but it's fueled by debt and it's fueled by them working 2 jobs. Husband and wife are both working high-paying jobs, 50 hours a week each, and doing all of that to just create this facade. Whereas in West Africa, once these guys have made it, they're living good lives. They're having that balance in life, and they're not killing themselves. So I think long-term, who am I betting on? I'm betting on the lifestyle of West Africa. West Africa builds better houses than America and much of the Western world. I've built new homes in America and West Africa, and I can tell you, when you see the construction of new homes in West Africa, you're gonna have a hard time settling for the junk they try to sell you in the United States. The biggest reason for this is, where does your money go when you purchase a new home? In America, most of the money that you pay for that new home is going into the land and into the permits necessary to build your house. Whereas in West Africa, most of the money that you're putting into the new home actually goes into the home itself. So you can have better building materials and a higher building standard than you can in America. In fact, let me compare two. This is the kind of build quality that you'll have in America if you're buying new home construction. It's basically as cheap as they possibly can make it to maximize their profits. Whereas check out West Africa. The walls are concrete. They're not cheap wood and drywall. The floors are marble. They're not this cheap artificial wood that they've been using in all the new homes that they call luxury in America. And the location of the houses makes a lot more sense in West Africa. In America, when you're buying new home construction, even luxury home construction, you're generally put off into this land of suburbia where you're 15 minutes away from the nearest store. Whereas in West Africa, you can purchase a home that's conveniently located to the metropolitan areas, which makes life a lot better on a day-to-day basis. And let's talk about privacy. In West Africa, you can build a privacy wall around your entire property. So people can't just walk up to your front door, or they can't just look in and see what you're doing. In West Africa, you get that safety, security, and convenience. Whereas in America, they only allow you to generally do these cheap vinyl fences, and if you're lucky, they can be 6 feet tall, and they can only be in your backyard. So everybody could just walk up to your front yard when you buy a new home construction in America. And in West Africa, new home construction isn't as restricted as it is in America. So if you want to build a 1-level house, you can do it. If you want to build a 6th bedroom instead of having a 5-bedroom, we can make that happen for you. And if you want a guest house, that's absolutely no problem. As long as you got enough space on your property, we can build that for you too. Instead of having to do it in America where you have to get permits for every little change that you make to the property. And as a result, the houses don't all look the same. Have you ever gone through a suburb in America and the only difference between any of the houses is what kind of vinyl they put on the front of the property? They call it a facade. Sometimes when I'm in a house in America, even a luxury new home construction, and I'm in one of the bedrooms, I have trouble telling the difference between the multi-million-dollar house and the much less expensive house for first-time home buyers. They use the same materials and they feel exactly the same on the inside. Whereas when you get new home construction in West Africa, the walls can be ornate. You can have really high quality doors. Everything's just gonna feel a lot more bespoke. And another little thing that I like about West African construction versus construction in the United States is the climate control. So in West Africa, every room can have its own individual climate control and can go to the temperature that's necessary for that room or that person's preference. Whereas in America, at most you're getting 1 or 2 zones of HVAC, meaning that everybody has to agree on what temperature is best for them. So if you're looking to build your dream home and you don't absolutely have to be in the Western world, I would really consider looking at new home construction in West Africa. I think you can get a lot more house for your money, but even for getting value play, I think that they build the houses much better at a higher quality, and they're just nicer places to live in than what you'll experience in the Western world where everything is basically cookie cutter. But I want to know what you guys think. Have any of you guys had a chance to live in West African houses and Western world houses? Let me know what your thoughts were comparing the two. And as always, if this video provided value to you, give me a like and a follow. That really helps out my channel. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Or maybe I'll see you at one of our projects in West Africa. We'd love to sell you a house. Take care, guys.
I've lived in 5 different countries in Africa. I've lived in Malawi, Botswana, Zambia, Morocco, and Nigeria. I've also traveled extensively in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Egypt. Never once in all my years of living or traveling on the African continent have I been mistreated in any way because of my ethnicity, because of my skin color. And this is in spite of the fact that I come from a country who are guilty for some of the worst colonial crimes ever inflicted throughout human history. That's right, I was born in Great Britain. And without doubt, the British and the French committed the greatest atrocities across the continent of Africa. The Belgians have a good claim for the greatest atrocity in their treatment of the Congolese, but if one looks at it as an entity and the number of countries that were invaded by the British and French colonialists, one will see that they are the worst protagonists. Despite this, and despite the behavior of my ancestors, I have never been mistreated. In fact, I have been welcomed warmly in all of the countries I have lived in or visited. And when in Africa, I don't cocoon myself in some enclave dome which is inhabited by people who like to refer to themselves as expats. I hate that term. But no, I integrate as much as possible within local society. I will go to a shebeen. I will go to any compound and experience life as it is for people in the country where I am based. So whether that's in the village, whether it's in the township, whether it's in the local bar, I will integrate, I will mix, and I am always made welcome. Now contrast that with the way many Africans are treated when they choose to live in the United Kingdom or France or other parts of Europe. The difference is incredible. The everyday racism experienced by African people on the European continent is a crime against humanity. Now, there are different types of racism. The most obvious is the day-to-day experience that an African will have whilst living in parts of Europe. The name calling, the staring, the subtle discrimination. And for many Africans, they will just brush it off because it is so common that they just get used to it, sadly. Worse, though, is the institutional and structural racism that Africans have to abide with. The restrictions on their movements, The fact that most passports emulating from the African continent will only allow Africans to travel visa-free to a handful of countries. And most of those will be other African countries or countries in the Caribbean. And moreover, the difficulty that Africans have finding work in Europe is unimaginable. People who are qualified as doctors, accountants, lawyers, university lecturers, nurses, teachers do not have their qualifications and experiences recognized by most European countries. I know many people from Africa working in various parts of Europe as security guards or as care assistants when back home they had highly skilled professional jobs. But that experience is rarely recognized when they come to Europe unless they come as part of a transfer with an existing company. But if they come because they've migrated to Europe, their chances of accessing the sort of job which they are eminently capable of is slim. Now, if a black person was making this video, they would be quickly dismissed. They'd be dismissed as having an axe to grind or always trying to find problems. And again, that's part of racism. The fact that I can speak because of my white privilege means that I have a duty to do so, not because I'm married to an African woman or because I have many African friends, but because I like to think I'm a decent human being who appreciates the value in every person on our planet.
So guys, welcome back. Honestly speaking, life in Europe and in America is not what it used to be for people. The crumbling mental health, the inflation is skyrocketing each and every time, police brutality, racism, homelessness. I'm not saying that in Africa there is no inflation. I'm not saying that in Africa there is no police brutality. I'm trying to say that if these Westerners tells you that don't come here, they don't say it out of hatred. They say it perhaps from the real pain that they're experiencing. And I've watched several videos of the Western people relocating back to Africa or to the Caribbean because life there is too expensive that they can't even afford. You'll find that someone is working 3 jobs, but he or she still can't afford life there. What about in Africa? If you have those 3 jobs and they are good paying, you will be a billionaire. You will be living a comfortable life that everyone will be admiring. For instance, there is this white man who was saying that if he compares building a home in Africa and building it in the Western country, in Africa is even way cheaper. For instance, I'm a Kenyan. If I want to construct a house right now and I have something like 2 million Kenya shillings, do you know I'll build a very beautiful house? And if I have that 2 million shillings in the West, in the Western countries, which kind of house am I going to build with that one? Let's start with buying a land, paying workers, buying all those materials to build that house, paying for the insurance. How much am I going to use? I'm going to spend a lot of money. And those Africans who are living in the West and relocated back to Africa, do you know they are building empires? We have techs in Nairobi, we have big plantation farms in Ghana, we have good fashion designers in Lagos, Nigeria, name them. In all countries in Africa, those who relocated back to Africa from the West, like they learned in a hard way. If you're an African and you relocated to the West, it's like you are going to acquire your first degree, because for you to cope up with life there, it won't be easy because, you know, in Africa, you are used to communal life. But if you go to the Western countries, do you even have time that you will be interacting with people all the time the way we are used to be interacting with families, with friends, relatives in Africa each and every time we want? Do you think we'll get that freedom to be doing all that? You have to work. You have to pay for all those bills. And still, you will hear some of the Africans saying that at least you are in Europe, at least you are in UK, you are in America, you are crying there, you are feeling good. Not knowing that sometimes you are struggling with mental health. It's ruining you. You are falling into depression. But if you tell a friend in Africa, he or she won't understand, because all along, Europe and America has always been portrayed as a promised land. And in fact, America, we knew that it's a land of milk and honey, and that's why a majority of Africans always wish to relocate there. And again, if you're an African who is moving to these Western countries and perhaps you happen to experience racism for the very first time in your life, trust you me, you will even regret the day you are born, because it will be your first experience. You will hate everything. Have ever experienced racism, and I'll never forget that day. So, I've been even asking myself, if I experience it once, how are the Black Americans managing it? Because that experience, it was like 2 years ago, and it's still fresh on my mind like it happened today. How are the Black Americans coping up with it? Because the racism in America is so rampant, and the police brutality, people are being unalived. Yes, in Africa, we have some people being abducted, but it's not like in the United States where we will be pew-pewed. Access to guns in the United States is way easier than in Africa. That's why a lot of people are being pew-pewed there. Then the students, again, who relocated from Africa to the Western countries are also complaining that life there is too expensive and is not what they expected. If you are there, there is a video I watched of this a lady. She's from Africa and she's an interracial relationship. She was having home fever and crying online that she wished she knew she couldn't have relocated to the United States. She could have just lived with her husband in Africa rather than relocating there. Because for you to get used to the culture there, the foods, in Africa you are used to the organic foods, but when you relocate there, the processed foods, the junky foods, you will gain weight so fast. Like a lot of things are happening there. So if you're an African wishing to relocate to Europe or America, it's your choice. There is no one telling you not to do so. Because I was going through the comments of these clips, Africans were saying that these people really don't want us to relocate to their countries. I know we might feel that maybe it's out of hatred. But honestly speaking, if you've ever been there, you'll wish that I could have stayed in Africa all this time, because you have an experience, you know how it is there. You'll be working each and every time to a point that you get so tired of working. You just need some rest. You just need to go home and have life again. You just need to be on your mom's knees like a small baby. It's not easy in Europe. It's not easy in America. Life is so difficult out there. But it's also good to go outside and explore and have that experience of whatever other people are experiencing there. And to those Westerners who are relocating to Africa or Caribbean, we welcome you home. Africa is such a beautiful motherland. And guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you're an African watching this video, are you planning to relocate to Europe or United States? And if you're in the Western countries, are you planning to relocate to Africa or to the Caribbean? Let me know in the comment section. And why are you planning to do so? Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Kindly give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you're coming across the channel for the very first time. I'm your presenter, Judy. Until next time, see you in my next episode. Peace and love.